Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel by Emily Vermillion. I am Emily Vermillion, certified Christian life coach. And today I wanted to share with you guys 5 tips for creating a vision that will really stick and work. And maybe if you've never even thought about creating a vision, why would you create a vision? What will this help you do? And answer some of those questions. So, as a certified life coach, I love helping my clients figure out and make clear to them what is motivating for them, what they want to accomplish, and all of those things because um, we're here to live our life one time and we have one shot at pursuing the goals that we have, to living out the dreams that we've had our whole lives. And there's no better time to start on those things than right now. Oftentimes, people have a difficult or challenge in deciding what exactly it is that they want, what exactly they desire or value, or maybe they have an idea but are just so stuck not knowing how to push that needle forward and make things begin to happen that they've desired and want and have passion for. So, a lot of us in the last video, we talked about purpose is a big deal to us. Purpose makes us feel significant. It makes us feel like we're working towards something. And every single one of us want to have that purpose. We want to feel significant. We want to feel like we're doing things in life that matter. And we sometimes struggle with knowing what our purpose is. If you are struggling in that area, go listen to last week's episode on this show. It should just be right in the playlist. You can check that out. Because we cover that. But in this episode, I wanted to talk to you guys about what we're doing to create that vision and how to create a vision that is going to cast a lot of action and change, because so many of us start the new year with the same resolution that we had last year, right? And it's easy to get caught in that because we have the best intentions, but sometimes we just don't have the best motivation or way to truly stay engaged in that goal and making it actionable, meaning making it applicable to our daily lives so that we can actually make headway and make a difference in accomplishing it. So a little bit that's goal setting, but a little bit of that is incorporated in what I'm going to share with you today. So when we're creating a vision, what is a vision? A vision is an idea, it's an ideal, it is a theme, if you will. It also can be very specific and niche. Like you have a specific vision for your wedding. That's a great easy example. You have the colors and the flowers and the way things are going to look, and you have this imagery in your mind of what the ideal of that scenario or circumstance or situation is. So a vision for your life is something that sometimes we don't think about, but it really is the overarching feeling, experience, image that you have of your life. When you think about your life and you're like, "Oh man, it will be so peaceful when," or "I can't wait for XYZ to happen in my life." That is your ideal. That's your ultimate vision for your life. That's ultimately what you are pursuing. Some of us get confused on that or mix that with, happiness or joy and contentment. And we think that we can't be happy until we've accomplished that. That is a farce, but that's a subject for another day. So why would you want a vision? A vision is going to help you have an idea and a perspective about your life that's bigger than what's happening right now. And the reason why that is helpful is because it keeps you progressing. The worst thing that we can do is get stuck in our day-to-day life and live a mundane life where we're just trying to get through so we can get to the weekend, and that's when we really get to live or really live on vacation. That is no way to live. We should be living every moment to our best with the most intention right now, because we don't know if we're even going to be here in 4 hours, right? We're not guaranteed. And so it's important though to have vision because it keeps you centered on what you really value. So that's tip number one. When you're creating a vision for your life, for your business, for your parenting, and that's one point I want to note. You can have a vision for all areas of your life, a vision for your finances, a vision for your career, a vision for your marriage. You can have a vision for everything. So you can take these tips and apply them to a specific vision, a specific area, or you can take these tips and apply it big picture to your overarching life. And that's kind of um, the imagery I'm going to give you today. So, when you're thinking about your life in general, the first tip is to think about what you value. So, each of us have different values. I just recently did a value exercise for an extension of certification that I'm getting. And it's so funny because I've done these often and throughout life. And it has always been a challenge for me to narrow down when they say, like, what are your top 3 values? What are your top 5 values? Top 10, I'm pretty good with that. Top 3 or 5 is hard. But for the point of this, I really do want us to focus on what are your top 3 or 5 values. So the first step in creating a vision is knowing what you truly value. And where does this come in play? I'll give you an example is I went through school, got my degree, did all these things, made all the steps, made all the plans, landed my first dream job, and quickly realized that this dream job was not my dream job in a nutshell for a lot of various reasons, which I've actually talked about quite often on around the community of on here. But what I realized, the one of the main reasons why that job did not fit me is because it did not align with my values. It created in me a life that I was living that did not prioritize and value what was important to me. So it really began to have a truly adverse effect on my overall life, the way I was living day to day. And that's when I realized, like, this isn't what I value. Like, I thought I valued this and I thought I valued what this career and this job would give me, but it doesn't. It doesn't align with my heart. And so the first thing you need to do is figure out what do you most value in life. For each one of us, it's going to be different. For some of us, it is relationship and family, but sometimes for some of us, it's a mission, it's our career that outweighs that a little bit. So maybe you're not someone who needs to be like specifically an easy example is how you prioritize your time and what you see big picture. So like once you have kids, if you want kids, you may not want kids, figuring out these questions, these answers to these questions are going to help you. Do you value building a family? Is that something on your radar? Okay, well, if it is something on your radar, what would family life look like for you? Do you want to be working outside of the home, inside of the home? Do you want to homeschool? Do you not? If you understand these values about kind of what you see ideally in your life, you can better understand what goals are going to match those values. Because I have found myself, like I mentioned before, in this, management, high productive, high stress leadership role in a corporate setting that I thought fit me, and it didn't because it didn't set forth the values in my life. Like, I value so much more than work. Like, I just do. And for some, and that's not a good or bad thing. It's just for some people, you need like X amount of time at your home. And for some people, you can run from 6 a.m. to 11:30 at night doing your work, and that fires you up, right? So everyone is a little bit different. So you need to understand what you value, and that's going to help you understand what goals are going to align with those values and what bigger picture is going to align with those values so that your vision, the vision that you're working towards is going to stay motivating to you because it is prioritizing the values that you hold, which are different from everyone else, right? Which are unique to you. So once you know what your values are, then you're going to start visualizing what your life would look like. Okay, so I value building a family. Like I know I want a bunch of kids, for example. Okay, so if that's what you value, then what would your idea look like if you had a bunch of kids? Okay, well, I don't want to work outside the home. I want to work, in the capacity that would be allow me to be majority caretaker of the kids most of the day. Okay, so if that's so that would limit what jobs or what pursuits I had that would take away from that priority, that take away from that family component, right? The child rearing and the being at home. So can you see how this applies? So Once you know what you're valuing, then you're gonna visualize. So when you're visualizing, I really want you to get out a sheet of paper. That's the easiest way, or take notes in your phone of what it would feel like. You want to think about the feelings. How would you feel if you were living in the ideal circumstance that you are envisioning right now? How would it feel? Would it feel exhilarating? Would you feel accomplished? Would you feel at peace? Would it make you joyful to wake up each day and pursue that life? And so part of this visualization is to think about what your daily life would look like. So if we can really envision what daily, like, get down to the nuts and bolts. I would wake up probably at this time. I would do this and this when I first woke up. I would move into this. I would go here. Like, visualize what your daily life would look like. It really helps you fabricate what those feelings would be like if you got to live out this life every day. So once you have this visualization of what it is that you would feel like and how your daily life would look, well, then now it's time to start setting goals aligned with that vision. So you want to set goals that are smart, specific, measurable, attainable, um, I just lost my train of thought. Attainable, realistic, and timely. Okay. So you want them to be specific. You want to be able to measure it. How are you going to measure that you've made it? The easiest one is like, I want to lose weight. I want to lose weight by 20 pounds. That's the way you measure it. Did I lose 20 pounds? Right. You want it to be attainable. So you want it to be something that you can see being a possibility. You want it to be realistic. So again, that comes into play with attainable. So you're making sure that it is something that is achievable, that is within the realm of possibility in your current circumstance, and you want it to be timely. So you can have big picture goals, but then you need to make them realistic. And part of that is breaking those big goals, those big visions down. If you want to be a business owner, okay, well, that's pretty big, right? So how are you going to make the steps to become your own business owner, owning your own business, self-employed, working for yourself? Okay, so first you have to know, what business are you starting? You need to know what are going to be your first steps in this foreseeable future. So for all of us, some of us like to work on a monthly schedule, some of us like to work on a quarterly, a yearly, biannually. It kind of depends on what the nature of your circumstance is. I usually set goals for a month. Like, each month I have a new set of goals. A lot of people find that 3 months, almost basically quarterly goals are very easy because they can get the ball rolling in the first month, set the standard in the second month, see the results in the third, right? So, quarterly goals are a great way. So you want to take that big vision, you want to break it down into goals that have a timestamp on them. So that way you can take those now goals and break them down and put them into your calendar. So that's the third and fourth way of setting a good vision. Is you want to set the goal, then you want to break the goal down, and you want to put the goals in your calendar so that you have actionable steps that you're working towards each month, getting you to that ultimate vision, right? And that's the big difference, because a lot of us will have this vision and we're just like, oh, well, we'll get it figured out, and you kind of work on things here and there, but your vision, you tend to believe, is just this like ideal. It's what you do desire and truly want most of the time in your heart, like with all your heart. But if you're not setting intentional goals, you are never going to get there. So once you set the goal and break it down into smaller bites, put it into your calendar, the fifth step that is going to truly transform the ability for your vision to come alive or not is to change your daily habits. So you've taken the goal, you've put the goal into your calendar. But again, this is something that should be relatively new to your life, right? You're setting a new goal, you're going to commit to a new thing. So that means daily, your life has got to look different. It has to have margin for that goal to work. It has to have margin for you to have the resources and time set aside to achieve that and to get those tasks completed. So for some of us, that's going to mean waking up earlier. For some of us, that means waking up late. For some of us, that means skipping lunch to work on the thing and to get the set of tasks done for that day. and that week and that month to keep that needle moving forward and pushing in the direction of reaching that vision that you have. And so this is a step that often is missed. We'll even take it down to get putting this stuff in our calendar, but if we don't make daily changes, you're just going to repeat the same thing you've been doing for days and months and years, and you're never going to see that effective change. So you have to have an understanding that daily you're going to get pushback from yourself because your body and your brain is not going to want to do change. It's not going to want to enact new energy reservoirs and expend the energy and figure out how and answer the challenging question. It's going to give you every reason why to pass. We'll do that tomorrow. Pass. I'll start it next week. Okay, well, I first need to get this and read this. And so I'll set that for next month. So your brain is constantly going to be putting that goal on the back burner because daily you still have to do the things like eat and drive and do your work and get where you're going and keep up the life that you've made it up until this point. So to change it means you're going to have to buck up against this innate unmotivating factor our brain is going to give you, saying no. Saying no, we don't want to do this today. So you have to have that expectation. When you're reaching for a goal, it's going to feel uncomfortable. When you are reaching for a goal, your brain is going to give you every reason why it's not going to happen for you. Every time you want to do something different, your brain is going to have an opposite reaction to it. And we have to have that expectation. So, yeah, every year you may be setting that same resolution, but it's because you're not doing this fifth and final step that's required of making change in your life, big picture, and is having the daily action steps to do something different. And it feels uncomfortable and it feels unnatural. And you convince yourself, your brain is very good about convincing itself that it's not part of your story and you don't need to pursue it and you can start it later. But why would you start it later when you don't know if later is going to come? And up until that point, you could be working on something that brings you so much joy. And so part of it is having a reward system built in, and that keeps that vision alive. So, when you've hit this goal that you're going to have this much percentage of it complete, reward yourself with that. Have a party, go out to eat, buy something nice you've been wanting, right? Keep that motivating factor there that keeps you in alignment with your values and with what you ultimately want, keeping you moving in that direction that matters, that's making a difference, that's giving you the impact that you need to feel significant and purposeful and joyful in your day to day life. Having a goal is so empowering because it helps you have a new energy to come to your day and say, hey, I'm doing something that I've wanted to do, and there's no reason to not start it. A lot of us just don't take the intentional steps it requires to really commit to something and make the big difference. And that's what I want to encourage you to do today. So you're going to sit down, you're going to think about your values. What do you most value? You're going to visualize your life with those values in mind. What does your day-to-day life look like if you were living out the dream that you have, the desire that you want, the goal you want to achieve? What will it feel like day to day to have that accomplished? Third, you're going to set that goal. You're going to set that SMART goal, that specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely goal. And then you're going to break it down. You're going to break that goal down into bite sized chunks that are going to get you to that goal. So you're not going to have to try to chew the whole goal at one time. You're going to break it down and then you're going to put those goals that you've broken down into your calendar. You're going to set timestamps to each of it. So by the end of the month, you're going to be this much further along. And then daily, you're going to adjust your daily life. If it requires you to wake up an hour earlier so you can get something done, you're going to do it. If it's going to require you to skip your lunch, you're going to do it. If it's going to require you to say no on the weekends to hanging out with your friends so that you have an entire Saturday to devote to spending the time on this, you're going to do it. And the reason you're going to do it is because you're going to keep in the forefront of your mind what is going to feel like when that goal is accomplished. What is going to feel like when you're living out that vision that you've had on the experiences that you wanted to have in your life, and what that's going to mean to you, and what that does for you. You're going to remember that vision that you had. You're going to remember what it felt like, what it feels like to have those values part of your daily life and in a way that's going to pursue them. And then you're going to stick to it because you're going to tell yourself, I know, Mr. Brain, when my alarm goes off at 6 a.m., you're going to tell me it feels much better to stay in bed. But then you're going to fast forward and say, yeah, that after at 7 o'clock, I'm going to feel like a freaking boss that had just got all that done for that hour. Like, you're going to already know how it feels to get to that other side of it. So you're not going to fall into the trap that your brain's going to convince you it's too hard, it's too difficult, you're too tired. There, you could do that later. You're not going to give yourself excuses. And the best way to not give yourself excuses is to know that you are working in alignment with what you value and what you treasure and what's been put on your heart to do. And you're going to know that you're living out that purpose because if you're adjusting your daily life every single day, you're going to feel joyful and purposeful because you know you've just spent 24 more hours pursuing that and working towards it and putting the value that you have in certain things as a priority in your life. And that's how you're going to start seeing the shift because right away, you know, if you hit this vision, that your values are going to align with it. Well, if you're working on that vision, you're working on those values as well. And that's the biggest change. When I was able to finally understand what I valued and knew I had to leave that soul sucking job, and I did, I was free. It didn't matter what it didn't matter because I knew that I was matching my heart with what I valued and my life moved in a totally new direction. Totally new direction. Never knew when I graduated with a bachelor's in healthcare management and then with an MBA that I would end up being a self-employed life coach, okay? So you have to follow what you value, what's been placed on your heart, and incorporate that into your daily life now. And as you're incorporating it into your daily life, you've done the back work of setting your goals and putting them in your calendar. And so you know you're pursuing this big picture dream and passion and desire and goal. And that is giving you a lot of energy. That's giving you a lot to live for. That's giving you a lot of joy and contentment because you know that you're in alignment with what God has put inside of you to treasure and to be uniquely gifted in pursuing. So I want to encourage you in that today. So I hope these 5 things have given you some food for thought when it comes to setting a vision. And maybe you haven't even done this, but I'm telling you, you need to. Think about your ideal life. Think about what you value. Set those goals and put them into action every single day and see the radical change it will have on your mindset, on your heart, and even on your physical well-being. Because when we're stressed, lonely, confused, angry, and frustrated, we're not living a good life. And these are ways that you can ensure that you are pushing that needle forward, to use that same metaphor and imagery again. You're pushing the gas and getting closer to that place that you want to be. So I hope this is an encouragement to you guys. If you haven't, be sure to check out my podcast, The Thought Vault. It's on all podcast listening platforms. It's a faith-based personal development podcast show, and I absolutely pour my heart and soul into it and love it over there. I'm also a life coach, and yes, I am accepting, as of right now, the recording of this video, more one-on-one clients. So if you're interested in that, you can always get to my website at boldpearls.com and click the contact button, and you can message me. So be sure to subscribe to this channel and be on the lookout for next Monday's live. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.